Hey, welcome back. I'm Ashley. I love sharing money saving tips and tricks to help you and your family stick to your budget. So today I really wanted to talk about how to save money on groceries, especially now during the pandemic. I know prices have skyrocketed. So I wanted to share a few tips and tricks that I've started using to really help stretch my family's budget on groceries. Before we get started, if you love learning how to save money and wanting to live a more frugal life, then make sure to subscribe below and you will always be notified whenever I post new videos, which I normally do here every single week. So if you've been to the grocery store lately, you've probably noticed a big difference in what you're paying now to what you were about 5 months ago. Prices on food and toiletries and pretty much everything have just kind of gone through the roof. The reason for this is because when everyone started panic buying, the grocery stores only had about a month's worth of inventory. So they had to wait for everything to get back in stock, which took a long time because I'm sure you've heard the supply chain is incredibly slow for keeping up with demand such as that. Also, some companies had to shut down their factories, so that really put a dent in the products that we're seeing. And because there's less variety, then what is actually here has gone up in price. And so since there are less things in the store to get, that means we're going to see less deals and less promotional offers from the grocery store chains. So I just kind of wanted to give you some things that I've had to do because I normally will shop sales and match them with coupons, but since we're not seeing those great deals anymore, it's been harder and harder to save. But regardless, or if there's a ton of deals or not, it's still always a good idea to look at the sales ads every single week, sit down and kind of plan your meals according to what's on sale. And I normally will just hit up one grocery store and call it a day, but now that you're having to get more creative with how we're saving. We actually have about 3 grocery stores within driving range. So I'll sit down and I'll look at all the sales ads for all the stores and kind of figure out who has the best deals on what and see if it would actually be worth my time to hit up all 3 stores in one day. Maybe just go to 2 because maybe one store will have chicken on sale. So I can make a couple meals out of that, but the other store will have ground beef or something, for example, on sale. So I sit down, I plan out my meals for the week. Now, when I say meal planning, I don't mean like taking one day and cooking everything at once. I don't do that kind of meal planning. I just sit down and plan out my meals. And by planning out your meals for the week, you only have to go to the store one time. You don't have to keep running back and forth getting things when they're not on sale, and it really can help stretch your budget. I also still will go to the deal sites like Southern Savers, Hip to Save. Those are kind of my go-to sites for finding the weekly matchups. I still do that even though there's not as many matchups to choose from. There are still some, so take advantage of those sales that you can match up with coupons that you may have, either print them off at coupons.com or that you get in your Sunday paper. Okay, so now that we went over kind of the basic things that I normally do anyway, let's get into what I'm doing a bit differently now. So my family does have a Costco membership, and that has come in really helpful for certain items. Buying in bulk can really save you a lot of money in the long run, especially if you have a big family. We are a family of 3, but we still buy things at Costco to save us money, things that aren't going to expire quickly. I have seen a lot of good deals on produce at Costco lately, and since it does come in a humongous package, sometimes we can't eat all of it before it goes bad, so we will share it with a neighbor or a family member and kind of split the cost that way. Even if you don't have Costco or a membership or some kind of big warehouse club, you can still buy in bulk at the grocery store. So maybe instead of getting like the normal size of Cheerios, if the family size is a better deal, go ahead and get that one. Always compare the price per ounce. It'll usually say it on the price tag, right? Under the product, it'll have the price, and then in a teeny tiny little corner, it'll have the price per ounce. So if the bigger size is, let's say, 0.03 cents per ounce, and then the smaller size is 0.09 cents per ounce, then obviously you're going to go with the bigger size. Another thing to look out for at the grocery stores are the store brands. So the generic products, not the name brands. These are really great products that taste almost exactly the same thing as the name brand stuff. I will normally get things like chicken stock, breadcrumbs, pasta, rice, soups even. And like I said, most of it I can't even tell the difference in the taste, except for the boxed mac and cheese. I don't know what it is. I've tried all kind of different varieties of it, but I keep going back to the blue box, you know what I'm talking about, the Kraft brand. That to me is the best tasting one over any of the store brands that I bought. So it's going to be hit or miss sometimes with what you buy, but for the most part, it's going to taste exactly the same or work exactly the same, especially if it's something that you're going to be cooking with. So another way to kind of stretch your grocery budget during this time is to have meatless meals. Not every single day. Trust me, I'm not a vegetarian. I love the meat. But sometimes you're going to have to maybe get protein a different way that can be a lot cheaper. Eggs are a good source of protein. Beans, lentils. Just taking some of those protein items instead of a meat, maybe once or twice a week, can really help your budget, especially since the price of beef and chicken has really gone up. So that's another way to kind of save a little bit of money. Now, if you can't go meat-free, I understand. But instead of buying the fresh meat around the butcher area in the grocery store, go to the freezer section. Look at the frozen meats. There's plenty of frozen chicken, frozen beef patties, all that kind of stuff, and it's just as good as the fresh. And it's usually a good bit cheaper than the fresh stuff. The same thing goes for produce. You know, if you're not seeing a lot of sales on produce that you need, go to the freezer section. That fruits and vegetables that are there have the same nutritional value. They're just frozen and they taste just as good. So they're a lot cheaper than buying fresh, and they're going to last you, so you don't have to worry about eating them right away. So speaking of produce, it's the summertime. I know a lot of farms around my area. You know, they grow strawberries, peaches, blueberries, and cantaloupes and watermelons are all in season right now. So if you can't find good deals at the grocery store, and I will be honest and say that we have bought produce from our local grocery chain and it just wasn't good. Like, I don't know why. Maybe the supply chain is just too slow now to get the produce here when it needs to be, but it just didn't taste good. And we ended up throwing it away and wasting our money. So I thought, let's go to the local farm stand. You know, the farmer's market. There are a few farm stands not far from us. Let's go check them out. So we went there and it was so good. You guys, those strawberries that we bought were amazing. And it was a huge half gallon, I think. It was a half gallon for like 10, 15 bucks. We ate about half of them and then I froze the rest. And we also did this with peaches and cantaloupes and watermelons, and everything we bought was delicious. And the prices weren't any more than the grocery store, and sometimes they were a little bit cheaper. So, you know, head to your local farmer's market or farm stand and look at the prices. See if they're comparable to the grocery store. If they aren't a lot more expensive, buy them locally. First of all, it's going to help the farmers out because I know that they have had to cut back on sending things to restaurants like they normally would. So they're hurting a little bit financially. So you can really help your community by just going to a farmer's market. So something else that has really helped stretch our family's food budget are the free school meals. Now, when Aria was out of school for 2 months, our school district was amazing, and they had school buses come into the neighborhoods and drop off breakfast and lunch for the kids. You didn't have to be a student at the school. As long as you were under 18, they were giving away the meals. Now, I felt a little bad at first going because I didn't want to take away, anything from anybody that really needed it, and the families just couldn't afford it, because we could afford to buy food. But at that time when they started this, everybody had just gone to the store at once and was panic buying. So when we went to get food, there was nothing there. We couldn't find bread, we couldn't find cheese or anything. So I went to the bus stop and I grabbed her some lunches. And the bus drivers were actually telling me that the more people that came, the better, because it was keeping the bus drivers employed and all the cafeteria workers employed. They weren't having to be furloughed like some other people in the district. So we kept going even after things started getting restocked in the grocery store. Because first of all, it was just fun for her to go to the bus stop and get her breakfast and lunch delivered every day. And for some reason, kids like to eat what is in the school lunches over what I can make. At least my kid did. Some are still offering those free meals. Instead of having the buses drop them off, for our district, you have to go to the school to pick them up, certain locations. But they are still offering them. So if you are struggling and you just need some ways to really stretch your grocery budget even further, go pick up those meals. They're there for everyone. If you don't know, just call your local school district or go to their Facebook page, and I'm sure they have information about if they're still offering it during the summer and where to go pick them up. But at least you don't have to worry, the kids are fed, and that's just one less thing off of your plate. And if you're still really struggling, go to the food bank. Check out local churches, go to community centers. There is no shame in going and asking for help when you need it. I know a lot of people are really struggling right now, and it takes a lot to kind of suck up your pride and ask for help. But that's what they're there for. They're there to help people that are just down on their luck. Just because you were furloughed or lost your job over the coronavirus pandemic doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. It was bad luck, basically. And I mean, I know that's not the greatest way to put it, but it really was. You didn't do anything bad to lose your job. So just don't see it as shameful for going to the food bank and getting what you need to feed your family. Do what you have to do. And then just remember, when things start getting better, donate to the food bank when you are able to. Pass the goodness forward, and just keep all that stuff in mind. These options are out there. You just have to go and either contact them or see what you have to, when they're going to be giving the food giveaways. I'm sure you remember seeing the lines of cars, parked for miles to get to the food bank. So you are not the only one. Remember to also cut back on things that aren't necessary. You don't really need the sodas. I mean, I know, trust me. Every once in a while I need a caffeine kick too. But right now, sodas are not on our shopping list. We've cut back on the junk food. We're trying to buy things that are more full of nutrition and spending our money on that. I hope you find these tips a little bit helpful. You can do some or all of them, whatever will help you and your family. If you have anything that you're doing differently this time, as far as grocery shopping, leave them in the comments below to give tips to other people too. And make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time.